Welcome to phase 1 of the Functional Aesthetics Foundations program. This is where you're going to build the blocks to having functional movement for the rest of your life and do things properly. I see so many people in the gym, and you probably still go to the gym and feel like you're not squatting correctly, you're not pressing correctly, things are giving you pain when they shouldn't. You should be pain-free all the time and still able to pack on strength, muscle, and condition your body in a pain-free environment every single time. But there's all these tactics that are ignored in powerlifting and bodybuilding that need to be addressed, like mobility, posture, and just movement in general. So we're gonna start this whole phase with the most important part, and it's a habit that you're gonna have to build for the rest of your life, which is SMR, self-myofascial release. It's just a fancy word for foam rolling. We need to foam roll our body to make our fascia more hydrated. So in simple terms, we're just taking out a couple of tight spots in the body, and then we're going to be able to move a little bit easier through them. There's common spots that are tight with everybody, so we're going to attack all those common spots and mobilize after. The tightest spot on people are usually hips and ankles, but we're going to learn how to foam roll every single part of our body with a simple technique. We need to go across muscles. So if my muscles run like this, to get good hydration, I need to go across. The other thing I need to do is really learn how to relax over the foam roller. I can't beat the foam roller with tension because it's not going to do its job. I need to take a couple deep breaths and relax over the foam roller. If I find a tight spot, I'm just going to chill on that tight spot until I get a little bit of relief. I'm going to move up and down my leg, finding those tight spots. The systematic way to foam roll is by doing 4 up and down motions, followed by 4 side to side motions. I like to work all the way up. Now that I've just done one spot, I'm going to another 4. And then I'm going to cross that same spot. I can work all the way up into here with that. When it gets into my hamstring, the hammy is really tough, and foam rolling like this is not going to do much, okay? I want to foam roll my hamstring like I'm tenderizing like a big piece of meat. I also want to turn my toe in and sneak right under this muscle here where the hammy and adductor are. So turn my toe in, and I'm going to relax over it and start tenderizing. I can work that one all the way up to my back. Okay. The most important one, the one's going to require me to really spend time sinking into the foam roller at different spots, is going to be my quad to hip. I'm going to start at my knee, and again, relax over it. I can scan my knee, or I can scan my quad to try to find more tight spots, find the pressure, and sink into it. Now, like, I'm used to foam rolling, so it doesn't hurt so much for me. If you're new to foam rolling, this is gonna hurt, and you're gonna have to fight your fight or flight mechanism that your body has. So your body's gonna be like, oh, like, fuck this, let me get out of here. But you really need to deep breathe through your belly button to calm your system down, and that'll help the foam roller get a little bit deeper. Then I'm gonna go back to my 4 ups and downs and my 4 side to side. For this one, I'm gonna bring my my heel in and just relax over that foam roller. Once I get really good at this, again, I can start tenderizing it like a piece of meat. I'm just trying to really get everything going in the tight spots here. Okay. The last spot that we're going to foam roll is going to be more on the adductor, because our hips usually get tight this way. Starting at the knee again. And let that pressure do its thing. Whenever I'm foam rolling, I'm staying in this plank position here. And I'm staying as neutral and square to the floor as possible. I don't want to be here doing all this stuff. If I'm on my elbows and I'm doing this, it means that I'm not relaxing. Okay? From there, I can start going side to side with that foam roller. And I'm gonna work my way all the way up into my groin. Relax the whole time, both sides. Now that we've hydrated our fascia a little bit and got things gliding around in there, we need to start applying different motion to it to get this to to get our body to really understand a new spot, okay? Our huge common problem is gonna be tight ankle. So we're gonna attack the ankle first with some stretching here. So I'm gonna get this back knee very close to a box or a bench, and I'm just gonna push my elbow into my knee to drive it over my toe. I'm gonna keep my heel down as well. I wanna feel the stretch along here, and I just wanna get that moving a little bit. Because usually they're really tight and they don't know how to move. So let's just feel out what they can do here. Applying gradual pressure. I'm gonna do this for 2 straight minutes of just pushing and seeing if I can get a little bit deeper and get a little bit more mobility as I go. Don't let the heel come off the floor. If the heel comes off the bench, then you're just gonna be loading into your knee, okay? So 2 SMR drills for my upper body for phase 1. First one is going to be trying to release any tightness in my mid-back. I'm going to do that by getting on my foam roller and trying to relax over it. Make sure when I'm doing this, I'm never popping my ribs out from this position. I'm always keeping a little bit of tension and a little bit of relaxation in my body. I got to finesse both of them at the same time. Get the foam roller to your mid-back. Hug yourself tight and roll over the foam roller. This is going to help open up that back a little bit. From there, I'm going to keep my ribs down, arms go up. Reach back as far as I can. Make sure that you don't pop and have any feeling in the lower back. Come back as one segment. Move around a little bit, find another tight spot. You might get stuck here and be like, oh, it's really hard. Deep breathing and relaxation to get you out of your fight and flight into a spot where your body can actually relax. Another one we're gonna do for the pec, because this tight pec is gonna drive us into internal rotation of the shoulder. We're gonna get a softball or a lacrosse ball, either one works. And all we're gonna do is try to loosen up the muscles in my pec right here. So I'm gonna get to a wall, find that tight spot on my pec, turn away from the wall, and then just start exploring kind of up and down by really pressing in. Again, I'm already flipping the shoulder blade back to open up. And now I'm just drilling around. I can also start exploring and finding different spots to open up that chest and get deeper in there. I can go up, and also what I like to do is right behind the back, put it right into that tight pec muscle. Dig right in, dig around. Now that I've released my pec a little bit and released my mid back a little bit, I'm going to start mobilizing them. So I'm going to stick my knee right on this foam roller and make sure my lower back does not do any movement. I want all the motion through this side right here, all my thoracic spine. So I'm going to reach across, bow and arrow right across my body. Again, you might get stuck here. Or even relax. On the first one, take your time, and then open up 9 times after that. Phase 1 mobility prep. So we're starting with dynamic child's pose for 5 reps. Push your hips back, come forward, squeeze your glutes, and push back. And you're just trying to move through this mobility flow a little faster than a slow static stretch. Then I'm gonna get one leg out and push back into the opposite butt cheek. Push back in the butt cheek, come back, squeeze the glute, stretch the hip, push back. Squeeze the glute, stretch the hip, push back. Yes, sir. And let's switch to the other leg. Squeeze the glute, stretch the hip, push back. Make sure when you squeeze that glute, when you shift your weight forward, that you're getting a nice stretch on that hip. We're trying to open it up here, okay? Next up, we're gonna go for a T-spine reach with a retraction. So I'm gonna reach through just my mid-back. I'm gonna warm it up before I go for the retractions. And there we go. Pull that elbow down and back, squeeze in between your shoulder blade. And again, we don't want that lower back reaching. We just want that mid-back reaching. And then we're gonna pull up and retract. Reach, retract. Reach, retract. Reach, retract. Nice and easy. Next up, we're gonna stand up in a wide lateral position. We're just gonna walk out and get scap push-ups. So I'm gonna retract my shoulder blades, protract, retract, protract, retract, protract. Don't let your neck bunch up, rather drive into the shoulder blades, the lower part in between the scapula, not up high on the neck. We're gonna do 1 walkout and 5 scap push-ups, and we're gonna repeat that 3 times. Again, we're not moving super fast or super slow. We are somewhere in the middle there. We're just staying moving and staying warm. We don't want to get like a crazy deep stretch in any of these positions, especially because we're just prepping the body for our workout. Next up, we are going to go for spinal flexion and arm screws. So I'm gonna roll out my body and start hinging and pulling a little bit. And then I'm gonna try to come back up segmentally. So what does segmentally mean? It means that I'm trying to go up vertebrae by vertebrae, okay? So speak to your spine there. Now we're gonna go into some arm screws, and we're just trying to get that shoulder head to flip down and back up. Flip that shoulder head down, back up. And keep your spine nice and tall. And 1 more segmental rollout. Push the hips back. Sway back and forth the tiniest bit. And come back up segmentally. Back to my arm screws. Yes, sir. Roll those shoulders. Roll those shoulders. Not a bad back musculature there, hey? The kid is pretty yoked. Phase 1 core prep. We're starting with dead bugs, the most essential core exercise. When I'm doing dead bugs, I want a ton of tension on my core. That's my whole torso from chest to hips. I'm gonna imagine that area as a cylinder, and I'm gonna try to push that lower back part of the cylinder into the floor. I'm getting tension for that cylinder by driving my left hand into my left knee. Look at the fucking face I'm making. These should be hard, and they require a ton of breathing. Exhale as you reach the leg, inhale when you come back. Right onto a side plank, 30 seconds each side, nice and easy. Make sure you're in a good alignment, and again, you're breathing through that cylinder. After that, we're gonna go into farmer's carries. Keep your spine tall, grab 2 heavy kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells, whatever's fucking heavy. Grab 1 each side, and we're gonna walk down and back with our spine tall. Next up, we're gonna keep that spine tall, and we're gonna put weight on just one side of our body. The left side of my body here is fighting hard to not rotate into the right side, aka anti-rotation. One of the best things you could do for your core. Let's get it, boys, come on. We're gonna start with a pause goblet squat. We're trying to build ourselves up to being able to do a barbell squat, but that comes with a lot of connection with the squat motion. Putting a barbell on your back is not the best way to motor pattern the squat motion. So this one's really gonna help because it's gonna let us get to full depth with a ton of tension on our body and come back up. Inhale all the way down, pause. two. Weight on our heels. Don't tip forward like this, because then the dumbbell's just going to come down. Stay deep on those heels with my big toe still on the floor and sink to that squat. Tension on the way down. 1, 2. Let's get 10 to 12 good reps. So to try to build a functional upper body means that we need to pull ourselves out of this inward rotation of our shoulders, okay? So that's why before we even started lifting weights, we did so much release on the pec and got some mobility through there. Now we need to reinforce that mobility with building muscle in those good spots. So before we get to pulling or anything, we're gonna put our scapulas in a good spot. We're gonna do that with a T hold for 30 seconds. I'm gonna get my feet wide and spread my hands like this. Now the goal is not to crunch up in here, it's to get out. Protract the shoulders and reach as far as you can. You're gonna spread your fingers and pull up through that T. As I'm doing this, I'm not popping my ribs out like this. I'm staying neutral with the spine and reach and pull. Keep pulling out, don't let anything come in, keep pulling out. If you want to add weight, once you've gotten good at this at around the 3rd, 4th week, then go for it. But for now, just focus on this joint opening up this way. Okay, so the next movement is going to be a high pull variation. We always need a heavy vertical pull to build the lats, the serratus, and all these muscles that work to pull up and pull down your body. We're going to do that with the best exercise for that, a pull up. The way we're going to do it is we're going to make it assisted. So it's going to be you finessing like tension between your upper body and your lower body. So I'm going to start all the way down in a squat position with my legs at the bottom of the pull-up bar. From here, I'm going to make sure I pull my shoulder blades into an active spot, and now I'm ready to pull. I'm going to use my legs as much as I need to make the pull 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, tippy toes, shoulder blades down at the top, and then I'm going to control the negative using just my upper body. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Make sure when you're coming down that you're not just plopping down. You're really feeling out this negative here. So next up is going to be the reverse lunge. This is the bread and butter of leg workouts. You see a lot of people trying to do lunges and they're just like messy, all over the place lunges. With our reverse lunge here, we're going to try to train the posterior complex to work. So when I'm walking, when I'm running, I'm shooting off my hamstring and glute here. But if I don't train this motion to some degree, or what we're going to train right now, this motion, I'm not going to have much strength or awareness on that posterior chain. That's what building functional legs is all about. Forget about the barbell squats and the quad extensions. Those don't have any relation to real movement. With this motion right here, I'm going to put a lot of muscle on my hamstring and glute, and I'm also working, loading my posterior chain. So very important exercise. That's what you're going to do. So many sets of this, and you're going to do it heavy and properly. So here's the motion I'm going for. I step and I bend. This dumbbell's going to line up with this heel as I bring my chest over my knee. Now I've opened up here. Okay? Then I got to use this leg to bring me back tall. One more time. Slowly load back into that hinge. Whew. How's that? Do the prone row next. Again, we're doing this to offset internal rotation of the shoulders. We don't like this position. we want to be here. Big, tall chest, strong upright torso. So to undo this, I got to train myself to pull back. So when I get into my position here, everything's got to be really specific for this exercise to work well. So get your chest, just nipple is the last thing that's touching the bench there, and grab your dumbbells. Now the most important thing here is to not grab the dumbbells here, but to grab them towards the edge of the handle and turn them in. They should be slightly pointed down. From there, I'm gonna bring my shoulder blades down and back, and now I'm set. It's a small, tiny range of motion, just bringing my elbows back. Keeping my ribs down when I pull, and not popping the rib cage out. Elbows go right into those lats. Pinky side of the hand, elbows back into the ribs as far as they can go. Next up, we got the lunge matrix. So this isn't going to be weighted to start. By the second week, you'll have this weighted. For right now, you're just going to go through the different steps and make sure that you can bend into them and spring out of them well. So I'm going to bend into a front lunge, reverse back. Load up that reverse lunge again, step back. Step and shift my hip backwards into a lateral lunge as deep as I can. Step back. Big step here, bend both knees into a curtsy lunge. Kiss the floor with your foot, step back. You do that 5 times each leg. Load this leg, step back. Load this leg, step back. This guy, and then this guy. So you're switching each way, you're loading your legs each time. Load here, load to the left, load on the right. Now get really good and smooth at this before you try to do other crazy shit. Because this is basics, basics, basics. If you can't do this, you shouldn't be loading other exercises. You should be loading a reverse lunge or a lateral lunge if you can't do it cleanly with no weight. The one arm dumbbell row is next. Again, guys, we want to lock our scapulas in a good position first before we start rowing, and then just drive through tension. We're trying to get big and bigger muscles here, so we need to go heavy. Just make sure that you're not doing this motion here. I see this 9 out of 10 times. Bicep curl to some weird fucking upright row. Make sure that we're pulling the scap back, driving through the pinky side of the hand, right into that lat. My elbow should be back here 90 degrees. This is wrong. This is right. So I'm going to push away with my left, line up my shoulder blades first. From here, I can let the shoulder blade droop a little bit, pull my elbow back. Again, it's tension. That's why we're doing heavy sets. Control the tension so the muscle builds faster. We don't have to sit here doing a million sets. We do 2 warm-up sets, 1 warm-up set, and then 2 tension-filled sets. Don't let up. First exercise of workout B for phase 1 is going to be a kettlebell deadlift. So like we talked about in my basics video where we do our hip hinge, I need to push back into the hip to create a vertical shin angle and a lot of space between the knee and the hip. Okay? I can find that area by trying to practice a jump and just not jumping. So here, now I'm in my hinge. So I'm going to make sure that the bell of the kettlebell is lined up with my heel, push my hip back, and then from here we can't have a rounded back, so we're going to pull our chest up and lock our lats in. Push through your heels, hips go forward. Now on the way back, I'm just going to push my hip back, guide the bell to the heel. Because we're trying to get aesthetic here, we're going to focus on the lifts that are actually going to do the most for us when it comes to aesthetics. When it comes to chest press, I wouldn't even waste my time doing a barbell press because it's not functional and it's also not the best chest builder. Your bread and butter for building a big chest is always going to be incline dumbbell press, and it's going to be a staple in your chest workout for the rest of your life, really, because this is like the cheat code to a big chest. Let's keep in mind here that we cannot be rolled forward of the shoulder here when we're pressing. If this is the motion of my shoulder joint, my press turns into shoulder pain or instability. So for this exercise, we're taking our shoulder blades and pinning them back to open up this chest line. They're gonna stay pinned back as my elbow extends. I'm not reaching with the shoulder. Just keep that in mind. So full range of motion is important with this. Set the scaps back first. Find your spot. Black part of the dumbbell comes right to the outside of the chest. Push. The more tension you can build, the better. So like I said before, guys, like especially for our first week here, we want to get the most out of our workouts aesthetic wise. So we're going to stick to that incline on our next exercise. Right after I finish my press, I'm going to go into a lighter chest fly. Most guys do these wrong because, again, my shoulders are here and I need to pin them back again. So this is what I'm going to do. Fall back on the bench, get to my press position, turn my hands to neutral grip. Now from here, watch what happens with my elbows. I bend and hook my arms. Now this same hook travels down with tension and travels up with tension. Tension brings me down, tension brings me up. Notice how the hook does not change as it goes. It's connected to that chest. Don't go too heavy here because you don't want to have to press it. You want to stay wide and controlled, manipulating tension. Then you can get some really tension-filled contractions. I got one more there on this. So next part of my next circuit is going to be glute walks with these bands around your mid shin. Now you'll see girls do these all the time to kind of prep their glutes, and that's exactly what you're doing. You want to get a feel of what your foot and glute have to do together to stabilize. So on this guy, I'm going to go big and slow. Keep my hip pushed back with a vertical shin angle, and watch my feet grip that floor. Grip the floor with that foot, no knee movement, all hip. Kind of cliche, but they're really good for starting to feel out what your hip does functionally. We don't want to just be putting weight on a glute bridge because it has no relation to walking or running. But a good way to feel out what your glutes should be doing, and a warm-up we're going to use before glute bridges, is to stand in this unilateral stance here. If my right foot forward, my left arm is forward, and I'm just going to walk between the two. And we're going to feel out both glutes working in that gait pattern. Next exercise is going to be tempo glute bridges. We're not even going to use the little bit of weight. We're using this exercise to try and tensionize the legs as we're going through a hip opening motion, okay? So I'm going to post up to where my shoulder blades are on the bench and sit my butt completely down, okay? The lip of the bench should be right at the bottom of my shoulder blades. From there, I'm going to spread my toes, take my big toe to the floor, take my pinky toe to the floor, and then push with the heel. So now I have 3 points of contact with my foot, and I'm above the bench with my butt. Right now, I'm going to make sure my rib cage is down. From here, I'm going to flex my glutes, flex my whole leg, and take 4 seconds to come up, hold for 1 and 4 seconds to come down. Making sure my hips and core move at the same time, so he goes back. Drive that big toe into the floor to activate more leg. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how my abs are bracing me right here and keeping my pelvis in the right position. I don't want to be relaxed and I don't want to be running forward too soon. I want to make sure my torso is moving in relation with my hip. Clench your fist and generate tension throughout your whole body. Oh my God. Instead of just going into a seated shoulder press or an overhead barbell press, we need to work with something that integrates our glute, but also trains our whole shoulder girdle to work instead of just the shoulder heads. I'm gonna do that with a half kneeling kettlebell press. That's gonna get my mid trap, lower trap, and trap and serratus and all this to work as well. And this is really what keeps me stable overhead. So to get into this, I'm gonna go into this contralateral position here, keeping my spine nice and tall, squeezing this glute and making sure this toe is back in the floor and squeezing this glute. It's gonna keep my body upright. From there, I'm gonna take a light kettlebell, put my hand right through the crease like that and get it into this front rack position. From here, I'm gonna tuck my thumb into my hand and generate tension throughout my whole body. Glute, core is on. From this front rack position with my knuckles right through the kettlebell, I'm gonna press overhead. Your arm will find the good zone to go in. If this hurts, you need to do more mobility before you come back to this exercise. The press is less important than the negative, so this is the most important part of the exercise. Bringing this elbow in nice and close while your spine stays tall. Because this is your first time lifting weights, I can almost guarantee that this part of your delt and these muscles in your back aren't supporting you the way they should. So to fight this motion here, we're gonna do a lot of pulling back, and we've been doing it. It's a common theme in like phase 1 in your first month of workouts, and we're gonna stick to it to finish off the day here. I'm gonna slide into my hinge position, get my arms long. I'm just gonna go back into that T from workout A. This time a little weighted. Practicing my hinge and squeezing that posterior line of my back. We need to build this line up for future workouts. If this isn't strong, we're not gonna be able to progress in our exercises.